Hello, 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 coming to you from down under. Today we added another 4 modules and we will show you how we did it. And after that I'll show you how I got here down under. With Module 4 in place, it is now time to move Module 2 to join up with it, which is sitting crosswise at the moment across the layout. I've got to turn it around and match the two dog legs. Now we should be able to see it coming into position here. Now it's a case of just sliding it up to close the gap, bearing in mind that there's a bolt here that's got to match. And so we will slowly push it into position, and then all we got to do is bolt it together. And there it goes, into position. Now all we've got to do is tighten the bolts and fasten at the back here where I'm standing with the end plate. Okay, to fasten those bolts I've got to climb underneath the layout, so I won't even try and show you that. One can see over here where these two tracks will join together, going across the joint in a perpendicular fashion, and that is the whole reason for having the dog leg, because if the joint was at an angle to the track, one might just land up with the track being warped, which could cause derailments. Right, I believe I said Module 2 while I was putting it into position. What I meant was the second module. This is actually Module number 1. And if you look down there, you'll see it's written on it, Module 1. Now I'm just going to show you what's happening here. We saw here on Module 4 the 1916 line going through this tunnel, and over here at the dog leg it joined Module 1, and it carries on down the side of the mountain round the top of this valley here, round here, to go from this point down the valley, and it joins the 1960 twin tunnel line. That 1960 route from here goes through the top horseshoe bend and then comes back at a lower level to go through the second horseshoe bend and through a very, very deep cutting. The cutting that was originally to be a tunnel before it collapsed during construction. And at the back here, well, you've seen Hilton Station. Well, the 1883 line comes around here, following along the mountain top for a little while before turning and going down the spur above this valley. It was just after turning against the hillside to the spur, and it actually was not on the mountainside, it was actually on the side of the spur just before this tunnel. There was a massive landslide, which they repaired by hammering old railway lines into the hillside and filling the gap with stone, which had been excavated from the Hilton Tunnel over there. I don't have any photos of the actual repair, but this is just my interpretation of what it would have looked like. Again, over here we have plaster molded rock face. I say plaster, otherwise known as gypsum.
Here, looking at the edge of Module 2, we see some indicators that will help with assembling or disassembling of the layout and the building. On the extreme left here, we have the numbers 160 over 60 and 220. That's 160 millimeters above the baseboard, or 220 millimeters above the bottom of the baseboard frame. That denotes the maximum height that any fixed object may be built on that module, or else it will not fit into the packing case. Moving to the right, we see that this module fits into packing case 1 on the bottom layer, and the arrow shows the direction that it's pushed into the packing case. And that circle with the X in is where there's a hole for a bolt, which will be used to bolt this module to the adjoining one. Okay, and just moving up a little, we can see the different tracks at different heights, which one would not normally see once the layout is fully assembled. And we'll pan across with Module 1 in the background, and a little bit of mountain next to the cutting, which is hollow. Now this could have been made solid with using polystyrene or sheet foam as used for insulation. I chose not to use this because when you cut it, it makes an awful mess, which I do not like. Panning further, we move across to where would be the hole in the middle with that opening under the mountain where one can store goods. And now right in the middle, that finger sticking up is the height gauge, again showing the maximum height that any fixed object may be on that module. By fitting one of equal height on the other side of the module, one can put a straight edge across the module just to make sure that nothing is sticking up too high. And moving a little bit further, we come to the right hand side of Module 4, showing the end, which will now butt onto Module 6. And going up a little bit further, we come to a TV screen, which is used to watch model railways on YouTube while we're working on the layout.
Here we have Model 2 in place, ready to slide into position. Just before I do that, I'll show you, there is a connecting bolt, and over there is a connecting bolt. Now I will slide Module 2 into position. And there it is in position. Joining up the track we will come to much later. One can see over here, this is the beginning of the hole in the middle. The border on the back side and the border on the left side, and the hole in the middle will be over here. And from the hole in the middle one can get to that area there, and this area here and the area around the back one can get to from this side, or by pulling the layout towards the front and giving a walking space between the back of the layout and the wall. Once again, I will now go under the layout and fasten these bolts. And here comes module 3, coming onto the frame and sliding it to the left hand side so that it will fit in front of module 2. And there it is. All it needs now is for the nuts and bolts to be fastened. Here I am standing in between the framework, in the middle, no, not quite the middle of the layout, but in the gap between the front and the back of the layout. Well, here I have module 5 that I'm going to slide into position. You might wonder what this is. Well, this is the cable that goes to the control panel for operating the switches. It hangs on cup hooks underneath the modules between this module and the control panel, which one will see later on. But meantime, just let me slide module 5 into position. This module is the final module in coming down the mountain. We started up there, coming out of the tunnel at the top of this valley, and we came down the side of the valley around the horseshoe, going further down round the second horseshoe and down into the valley in which the city of Maritzburg is built. And where I'm standing now, well, not right where I'm standing now, but over here will depict the city of Maritzburg with its station. This piece of mountain actually doesn't belong here. It actually belongs over there on the other side of the cutting. But it was too high to be permanently mounted on this module. So temporarily it was mounted here for the move, and we will take it off and attach it there in due course. And you might see now the hole in the middle is starting to take form. We have 1, 2, 3 sides. And when module 6 comes in over here, it will make the 4th side, leaving the hole in the middle. Well, to get under the layout and to get to the hole in the middle, I have this little stool which is mounted on a board with caster wheels. So I can sit on it, bend over and slide under the layout to come up in the middle. Hello, I'm out again.
Oh well, that's all for today. Did you enjoy the show? Did you find it funny or informative? Was it entertaining? Did you like it? And if so, please press the like icon. If you didn't like it, leave a comment telling me why. In the next episode, we'll introduce you to Model 6, which is the heart of the layout. Don't miss it. Make sure that you subscribe, and if you ring that bell, you'll even be notified when the next episode comes out. Goodbye.